Yeah, welcome to Gamescast 11. Keen-eyed viewers will notice that Duke's not here. I think this is the first one he's missed, so hopefully he's watching. And today, I think we're going to be talking about all the advanced 3D hand-ins. So let's roll the intro. Okay, there we go. So it went quite well last week, and I didn't get to do one. So we thought we'd play What's on the Box again. So basically, we give you a description. If you can find out what game we're talking about. And Matt is to go first.
So if you click it, should reveal the text.
Yep.
Here we go. Okay, so this one should be a fun one because I made it nice and easy last week. So I've gone for a little bit of more obscure hardware. So this is the text that's on the back of the box, and I've replaced anywhere that it mentions the name of the game with the word name. So your name is blank. You have courage, a karate chop that shatters rocks, and a big job to do. You learn that the mysterious city of Rad Action is in great danger. All your skills and talents are desperately needed to help, but there's a catch. How do you get there? Your only clues are a puzzling map and a medallion made of sunstone. Will that be enough to solve the riddle of the pathway? You face the obstacles, solve the mysteries, learn the secrets as you go along, but there's a high adventure around every corner. It takes a blank like you to handle the challenge like this.
See, this one's thrown me. I have no idea. Yeah.
Any guesses?
Well, we need to not look at the chat in the.
Well, to be honest, right now you can look at the chat because they don't have a clue.
Yeah. So,
Knack 1, 2, and 3 are not correct.
See, Daryl and Mick are veterans in the industry. You should get this.
Yeah. Why? Can't know everything. This. I haven't got a clue.
I'm thinking of something, but I can't remember the name of it.
I remember an Egyptian game, and there's a female sort of protagonist, and you sort of run and jump and fight your way across, but I cannot remember the name, so I don't know if that's it. If I remember, she's got face paint on as well.
No, you're way off.
No.
All right. Let's give it another.
Wait.
You're Googling.
Are you Googling the answer?
No, I'm trying to remember the name of a game. I'm trying to see what.
Well, we can all do that via Googling. Yeah. Just type it all in. The name of the game, I'm sure, will come to you. I'm going to say that I haven't got a clue, Matt. I think you've won here. You got.
I'm going to say enslaved.
Whatever point you get.
Oh, so you're running enslaved. Daryl, no, that doesn't have a clue.
Ye are kung fu. I don't know. No, it's not that, though, is it?
I'm going to have to pass.
International karate. I have no idea.
Two people in the chat have got it right.
It's not Kung Fu Panda.
So, do you want to reveal?
Not really. Oh, I've never heard of it.
Oh my god.
You've never heard of Alex Kidd?
I'm young.
Wow.
It came pre-installed on the Master System.
Wow.
No, mine it didn't.
Retro. I wasn't expecting you to go that retro, to be honest.
It was Sega's version of Mario. Yeah, before the creators, it was Mario.
Oh, Mick's camera's froze. Quite a good position as well.
Well, leave him like that. He'd be good for another hour like that.
Okay.
Just that predate the First World War. No, it doesn't.
Wow.
So Daryl's is next.
Okay. What is on Daryl's box?
So
I'm going to have to read it from Twitch stream, so I'll wait for it to actually load because there's always a lag, isn't there?
Yeah.
A cursed boy lost in a place of shadows, a young girl consumed by sorrow and loneliness. Together, they must find a way to escape, but their prison is vast and holds many secrets. Every twisting staircase, creaking door, and towering pillar is part of a larger puzzle. Each torch and shaft Oh, sorry. Each torch and shaft of light only serves to illuminate another mystery. Their path is dark and treacherous, but somehow they know they will find their way out, a way back to the light.
I feel I know this one.
This one's easy, Daryl. I'm not going to say it because I think I'm pretty certain I know what it is. So I'm just
I said this actually because you weren't around when we were setting these up, and I said this is one that I think I would have got if I'd seen it, but I didn't know because obviously I chose it. So it's one of those things that it may have been too obvious.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say it until the end. But if anyone else got any clues, if they don't know, because the chats, I'm not really sure.
Does it involve a lot of hand holding?
It may. See, it was too easy.
Right, I know what it is, I think.
Yeah, so has Mick do you got a clue?
I can't think of the name now. I've got an image in my head of what I think it is, but I can't think of the name.
You could have done a letter each, couldn't you, really?
Oh, yeah.
You got it as well.
I think, weirdly, the chat doesn't seem to have got it that much.
No, they have. They have.
I know one person's got it.
One person has, yeah.
I thought this would have been quite easy. Is it Eco?
Yeah.
Or Ico? I'm not sure.
Ico. I've always pronounced it Ico. I've no idea, though.
Yeah, I've always said Ico.
You could have got away with it if you'd said one letter each. No one would have to pronounce it then.
Good game.
Yeah, it's not the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, if you've never played it, they did a remaster. Basically, it was just a HD upgrade for it on modern consoles. Definitely worth going and play.
Yeah, I think your mic's wobbling on the table a bit, Matt.
Who is it?
It's making a weird sound. Yeah, masterpiece of a game. I forgot what I put. Oh, there we go. So mine is a government.
Than I can.
Not really. A government conspiracy wreaks havoc upon planet Hills. As the rebellious action reporter, you must penetrate your leader's web of lies and expose their horrific secrets. In a world of deception, believe in nothing except for yourself. So it's quite a short one. And I think it might be quite difficult, so I'm making up for the not having a go last week.
Oh, I've just seen the chat, and I think they've got it straight away.
I thought this was a good one.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got that, actually, if I hadn't looked at the chat.
Someone's Googling.
No, but that's a good game. I haven't played that in years.
Yeah, there's
I wouldn't have known again. If you bamboozled me, I wouldn't have known that either.
Yeah.
The HD remake is worth getting as well. So, as chat got it, yep, Beyond Good and Evil. Really good game. The second one, I'm not sure it's going to be anything like the first.
The second one's it looks like it's a giant open world, sort of weird. I don't even know what.
Yeah,
I've watched a couple of videos on it, and I'm still not sure what type of game it is.
Space pirates, apparently. So, Mix.
Oh my god, I can't see that now.
I can
I'll
read
read
it
it from the box.
Hey, you nearly held the box up to the screen then. Be careful.
Yeah. Welcome back, comrade. Game with fame. Jenny McCarthy, George Takei, J.K. Simmons, Tim Curry, Jonathan Price, Randy Couture, and others joined the largest live Hollywood cast ever assembled in a video game. Over 60 minutes of high-def video sequences. Rule the oceans, rule the world. Unprecedented naval gameplay delivers on an entirely new strategic dimension.
This one's easy. Only because you gave the cast away. I'm just looking at chat.
But yeah.
See, I actually don't know because I don't play a lot of the type of games. I'm guessing if the chat, the direction that chat's going with it all. Yeah, I wouldn't have got that because I don't play them.
I generally don't know. Again,
Shall I reveal?
Yeah,
I'm guessing it is. Chat's right, are they? Red Alert 3, yep, there's right there. Oh, Gary got it, Red Alert 3.
Straight away. At least, I think Mick lost this one and I came second to last, at least.
And I think I won that.
Chat says Daryl's bad at this.
I did all right last week. I did really well last week. I think I got both of them last week. Yeah, this week, I would not deny. Awful. Oh well.
Okay, so a bit of fun to start with, and then we're going to go into the main topic for this live stream, which is going to be Advanced 3D. We've just had the submission for that module, so the final year Advanced 3D module. They've just submitted. So Daryl's been through and pulled out a couple of videos, a couple of images, and we're going to go through and we're just going to show them off a bit and talk to them about them and link to a couple of their art stations, which might be a shock to some of them because the art station links that we're linking to definitely need updating.
Yeah, you've got about half an hour to fix your art station, yeah.
Okay, so we've got our first one here.
So first up, we've got Connor. So actually, we never actually said what the brief and everything was, Daryl. So while this is playing, do you want to just quickly talk about the brief?
Well, the brief's very open. I mean, that's what the previous slide just said. It's a completely open brief, allowing students to really play to their strengths and build a portfolio that's going to serve them once they graduate. So the idea has always been to really get that art station underway, or get, you know, if it's a show reel, get the really sort of like starting point of that show reel heading in the right direction. So a lot of the students, as you can see from that the slide that Ash has just reverted back to, will immediately go, well, I want to be an environment artist. And there's a tremendous amount of work in environment art, so I'm very sort of like keen to support that. We do get quite a few people that want to study character arts, as Connor has done there, and then we occasionally get a few animators and prop artists and so on and so forth. In fact, we've even supported VFX in the past, straight VFX, not even game VFX, straight VFX for motion pictures. So that's a sort of like overview of what the module's really supposed to be about. It's anything. So the brief is, come to me and say, I'm going to do this, and I go, that's a lot of work, or that's about right, and then we sort of agree that that's what you're going to do for the year.
So anyone that's watching this as a potential new student or anything like that, we'll link in the description to a YouTube video that describes the module in a little bit more detail. Yeah. But let's jump into the students, Darren, and let's go through them. So first up, as we said, was Connor.
Yeah, and he got a really nice piece of concept work that he asked the artist if he could create this 3D model from. And the concept piece only had a view from sort of 45 degrees, so you couldn't see the entire character. So there's a fair bit of artistic interpretation that's gone into this, and it's been a process of continual refinement, certainly over the last sort of maybe sort of 8 to 10 weeks. So I would say kind of this semester, really, the piece really started to sort of like come together, and there were errors and issues that needed to be solved. But I think for the most part, he's really done a very good job of getting to that sort of like finish line. It's I like the use of color. I think that's very, very strong. I think the forms are pretty good. I think with any of this work, there's often room for some improvement. I would, if I was looking at this still, I would probably go back and maybe rework the thighs and some areas around sort of the hips and the waist.
I quite like the look of the organic mixed in with the mechanical.
Yeah, he's done a good job of that. Nice I think mix, there's again, probably once you get sort of into the finer detail, the way that they intersect, there's probably a little bit of extra finessing that could take place at that point. But generally speaking, I really like this piece of work. I think that one of the issues that I keep noticing is that there's too much symmetry. If you look at the jacket itself, there's too much symmetry on the creasing and folding of the jacket. And again, that's a fairly straightforward process to resculpt that. And the guns, I don't see the articulation on the gun, but some really nice articulation and sort of consideration of what that form actually means. Even though it was only a 2D image that he started off with, he's really fleshed that out nicely and brought it to life. So I'm really quite pleased with this overall.
Yeah. I think as someone in the chat just said, it would be nice if she wasn't in a T pose and actually posed. Sort of very similar
I totally agree with that.
Similar to the concept, but it's a very strong piece. And if you're interested in looking a little bit further into Connor's portfolio, that's his ArtStation link on the screen. So
yeah, I think the only thing I would change is maybe the silhouette of these from the front look a bit strange. Like they look great from the back, and maybe some weird effects for hovering the horns because they just look a bit out of place just stood there, or even just animating them in your turnaround, just slightly shaking. But really nice piece.
Horns, they're very obvious.
Horns.
Bunny ears. Actually.
My bad.
You are.
Cool. So that's cool. So that was Connors. So we're going to go through. We're just doing a bit of a showcase, so we're going to go through some of these quite quickly. So next up, we've got Ben Smith. So do you want to talk us through what Ben submitted, Darryl?
Yeah, Ben started off with this sort of like library concept, and it was lacking something. So we talked about adding some sort of orrery or some. We initially sort of said, well, what could fit in there? What would sort of like be a good centerpiece? And the idea was to include this orrery and get the lighting sort of so it kind of popped and glowed. I'm not certain that the lighting's as sort of precise as it could be even at this stage. I don't think that really the centerpiece draws your eye to that. I think the candles overpower it somewhat, and it's obviously in that particular second render, what you get is the orrery sort of front and center. So your eye is drawn to it better, but I still think a little bit of an extra lighting pass would have really helped this. There was meant to be more of a glow on some of the elements that were sort of contained within it. So it was. I think what it really would benefit from is well, there was no video supplied with this, but if they were kind of glowing, pulsating, maybe sort of had sort of like a slight particle trail coming off them, just to show that there was magic going on in there. Flickering candles, all that sort of not flickering candles, but sort of like slightly sort of like raising and dimming candles. I think that would have really sort of like sold this, but there was no video we could show, unfortunately.
Yeah. I remember seeing this one quite early in development, in the earlier stages, and it's come on leaps and bounds since when I last saw it. So it's good to see it in its later stages. It definitely, as we will show when we jump to Ben's portfolio in a second.
Yeah, I was about to say there's some
time updating his portfolio and presenting.
There is some solid texturing in here. Though the floor in particular is really well textured. It's realistic. It's got sort of the right sort of like level of detail that you would expect. Some of the wood's very good as well. So there are quite a few positives. As Ash pointed out earlier, the carpet or rugs, if you like, is a bit flat at this stage and could do with a bit of additional work.
Yeah, just some kinks in it. Fix your light map on it there. Same with your drawers as well. Some smoothing group issues with your light maps, but otherwise, compositionally, would be a great portfolio piece to add to this. So,
so yeah, Ben is one of those students that needs to spend some time updating his portfolio, because the one piece he has on there is an old piece from second year, which doesn't actually represent his current skill set, because he's wanting to go down the route of more environment artist. So, yeah, if you're interested in following Ben as he updates his portfolio, that's his ArtStation link.
That's so evil.
Yeah, so I would probably remove this as well, or give it another texturing pass. Now you've grown over the past year, and then keep your strongest first on the portfolio. So next we've got Nav.
Yeah, again, there's still we've been sort of backwards and forwards with this quite a few times. Nav was really good. Got off to a really good head start with the module, and there have been quite a few sort of problems that we've solved along the way. And we're doing sort of group sort of crit sessions on Zoom as well, and he's got quite a lot of feedback from the whole group. So it's been a solid sort of process. To my mind, there are a couple of issues that I would still like sort of like resolving. I still think that shirt is too short. It just looks like, I don't know. It needs to be about an inch and a half longer. So yeah, there's that. I mean, to be commended on the fact that he went back and remodeled the whole collar in a very short space of time just before he submitted this, because I didn't like the collar design either. It's done a really good job. I mean, if someone wants to pop in the chat who it's meant to be, I've forgotten the name of the character.
Sorry, chat's just got me. Someone said he looks like his cousin will ask him to go bowling. It's a good reference.
But it's meant to be a character from Grand Theft Auto, and again, I've completely. Vice City, can't remember the name in the chat. Yeah, nor can I. But anyway, he's done a very good job of getting a likeness of that character. For me personally, I still think it has. I've said this to Nav on like a few occasions, so it's not going to be anything he's not heard before. It has an aspect of a Thunderbirds character, and I can't quite put my finger on exactly what it is about it, but it doesn't quite sit right with it. So there's a little bit of extra work that I would put into sort of like the face shape and form, just pushing and pulling. And I think I'd really improve it as well. But really, the main problem I have with it is that shirt length.
So the chat managed to get the name. It's Tommy Vassetti. But I think his portfolio is definitely one to watch. I've said this to him a few times, but he gets stronger and stronger with every single piece he does. And just to see the progression, even just from second year to this year, is remarkable. So I think as he moves on to the next piece that he's working on and the next, I think his art station will definitely want to watch going forward.
Yeah, nice breakdown on his art station as well. Really good showing that stuff. Cool. So next we've got Jake Brown.
So this came as a bit of a surprise. This wasn't what Jake was working on. That crane you see in the background there is the original sort of centerpiece to the scene that Jake was working on. And at the 11th hour, he decided he wasn't doing that scene any longer, and could he change his scene to this sort of neo-Tokyo sort of art style? And I was quite happy to him to do that. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on here. I mean, we have to be clear about this. If you analyze the construction of the scene, although the texturing is solid and the light and sort of like contrast blending is very, very good, and there's some interesting sort of stuff with the particle effects, it is I would say greater than the sum of its parts, if that's a good way of putting that. Yeah. I think as a portfolio piece on its own, it's totally fine. But if you're building a portfolio, then realistically there should be a whole lot more sort of really high quality modeling, texturing, explaining how you got to that finished point. And this as a portfolio piece really does gloss over that. Not that I dislike it in the slightest. I do like this as a piece, and I've said this to him previously. It's fit for purpose. It does what it set out to do. But I think if I was a studio hiring, I'd want to see something with a bit more depth.
And I think Jake is one of those, just like Ben, that has got a lot of pieces on there that are very old now. So I'll probably go in and just give that ArtStation page a bit of a clean up, a bit of a tidy up there. I just want to point this out. I just jump back to that video for 1 second.
Yes. This one?
As we talk about how Jake's done quite a really nice piece here, and he's got some nice lighting and some good texturing. Just notice the very last scene of this video. As instead of rendering out a new scene, he just played it in reverse because the rain is going upwards.
I noticed that.
Hey, that's quite cunning. I hadn't spotted that at all.
No, neither had I until just then.
Maybe it's magic.
Yeah.
So on your portfolio, I'd have loved to see a bit more of a breakdown. Maybe you render your assets out individually, show them off.
I think that is the larger issue with this particular scene, though, because if
there you go, look at that rain going up.
you would end up seeing the simplicity. You would end up seeing the simplicity of what this actually is created from. And again, I don't think it's a major issue. I mean, it is what it is. It is about light, color, and composition. In it, from that perspective, it's perfectly fine. But
I think also looking at it from a studio perspective, like recruiter kind of thing, and that they're going to want to see how you've worked with that smoke and mirrors type stuff to get that effect. So they're going to be interested to see how you've actually worked it all in. Now you've faked things and all that stuff, and yeah,
I think that's a really good point actually. And there's some things that students sometimes forget is that games at the end of the day are basically a big smoke and mirrors effect because you don't have the resources to do a lot of things, so you have to.
Yeah, a lot of the time you're cheating. You're trying to fake things. You're trying to make things look ultra realistic or ultra detailed, but you've always got the limitations, the polygon budgets, that kind of stuff, texture restrictions kind of thing, and that's yeah.
So yeah, even if you can just you're putting neon lights and stuff to sort of make things glow and stuff, do a little breakdown of the process just to showcase. Yeah, this is the way that I'm doing that sort of trickery. I'm not relying on super high-end ray tracing and things like that, which a lot of students go, oh, I must have the latest RTX 2080 graphics card to be able to render that. No, most games are on low-end hardware, so how are you faking the fact that you want that beautiful ray tracing, but you can't have it? So strong piece there from Jake, and I'm looking forward to see what he submits for my advanced viz, and the same with all of these students as well, because we'll be doing another breakdown on advanced viz on another stream. So on to Jason.
Yeah.
So Jason, as with many of us, has been reading the Expeditionary Force books. So he decided he was going to make a Kristang warrior. So I think there's positives and negatives with this piece. Some of the hard surface work is really nice. I'm not as convinced. Again, that it's in a basic pose, but even the basic pose still has some front weight into it. He seems off balance, even in the sort of the initial form before it was posed into a more interesting shape. So clearly this needs a little bit of tweaking, and essentially it needs rigging beyond that. And there are a variety of issues there. As Ash pointed out, the face is a little bit lost. There's a helmeted version which we've not included in this presentation, but the helmet itself is blank and orange and needs a tremendous amount of work. The face, it just isn't well defined. It doesn't hit you. I would expect it to have more character, more personality, but also more contrast. So
I think a lot of that can come from the pose, because he's still in general T pose. I think posing him, giving a little bit more texture variety, putting him in sort of a little diorama for presentation will bring that personality across.
I would have liked to see. I mean, it would have needed refinement, but I would have liked to see what would happen if we start sort of introducing edgeware, a bit more ambient occlusion into the sort of shadowing and things of that nature. It just reads quite flatly at this.
I think it's a very strong piece for sort of, like you say, the hard surface sort of.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, don't get me wrong about that. There's something particularly. It's not so easy to see in this particular image, but there's kind of a spine guard, and there's some really nice detail in that spine guard in particular.
Yeah, I think anyone that's not read the book series
should.
This is based on. It's Expeditionary Force, and the first book is called Columbus Day. It's a book that pretty much all the game team have been reading up lately. It's on Audible, and the guy that does the audiobook is really good to listen to. Give it time. The first sort of like third of the first book is a little bit dull, but then it takes off quite strongly. So that's my book recommendation.
So are you saying this is just halfway through the first book?
No.
Unfortunately, you do. I zoned out completely the first time I listened to it, and unfortunately, you do have to get through that first chunk of the book. Matt recommended it to me. I was like, "Well, what is this?" I zoned out so much I'd start again, and then you get to the point where it gets good, and it stays good for the entire book series.
How many books
we're like nine books in now, and they're fantastic. But the first half of book one is hard going. It's boring, in fact.
But then it kickstarts off, doesn't it? It doesn't just pace into it; it just goes.
It just goes bang. Yeah.
So
and so a lesson learnt there as well. The student found out what the tutors are interested in and did the
That is true. That is true. But that is my book recommendation for the summer. If any of you are interested in any type of sci-fi or things like that, Expeditionary Force, worth having either a read or a listen to on Audible. But Jason is another one that he has some quite strong pieces from. These are actually pieces from his second year. So he has nothing currently on his ArtStation from his final year. So Jason needs to go back and update his ArtStation. So one to watch out for as that gets updated over the next couple of weeks and months.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a quick nosy at this. It looks quite nice from the thumb shot. Cool. Anyway.
So next up, we've got Daniel Rusby. So I'm going to start this off before I pass over to Dal, because
thought you might.
Because Daniel has surprised me so much this year. And when Daryl showed me this piece, I was pleasantly surprised, because the piece that he's done for my visual module is really good, and then this is really strong as well. So he has gone from strength to strength and actually found his game at this point in the final year. So I think he's actually found a skill set and a passion to what he likes to do now. So
yeah,
I'm gonna pass it back over to Dan.
Yeah, I don't know whether Dan's going to sort of see this stream or not, but he couldn't deny that we not to to add too much of a pun. We went round the houses with this. He started off with a very nice piece of concept artwork, which looks like the finished piece. And when he started making it, he started trying to make it as a low poly object, and it doesn't lend itself to being a low poly object because it's absolutely chock full of curves, and it's even curvier than this in the concept. So week after week, I was going, no, more curves, more curves, do this, do that. No, your poly count's far too low. Increase the poly count, make that curve. Let's turn it around. Let's add more. And it was a long drawn out process of getting him to think in an organic manner to something that he was clearly in his head visualizing as, well, a wall's straight, isn't it? And a window is, a particular shape, and making him forget what he thought he knew about buildings and learn from the concept work and to how to make things look, fantasy like and sexy, took some doing. We literally week upon week upon week. However, I don't know what's happened, because we got to a point where it was nearly finished but not quite, only about a week ago, when I said it needs this and this and this, and shading wise and all that sort of like depth fogging and the waterfall and all the water and everything. I didn't see him presenting the work to this standard, and that was only a week ago. It's great. It's a lovely piece of work, and what I've liked about this as far as the process as well was the fact that he was getting, again, he came open-minded to the Zoom sessions that we've been running, and he got credit from not just me but from the rest of the group as well. And he's listened to it, he's written it down, he's gone away, and he's finessed it, and it's really nice.
Yeah, I love the attention to detail as well. So under the sort of supports, he's got a barrel under there. It looks like he's sort of worn the way in the middle up the ladders, which is good. I would have just liked to see a little bit more sort of waterfall splashing, because that sort of pulls your attention away. And where you've got some mould on this roof, maybe that sort of goes on to the wall of the house as well. But yeah, it's a very nice, solid piece, and I like the environment it's put in.
Yeah, I think the waterfall probably needs another pass because it's probably the weakest element. But Daniel's ArtStation is another one. So if we just flick over to that, artstation.com/. He's only got this piece up so far, but I presume we'll be putting advanced viz up there, and he'll be putting up other pieces as he goes forward. So another one to follow.
I think the containers, the sort of, I don't know what you call them, the pools, the edges of those pools need a further refinement. They look a little bit too basic at this stage. They just need sort of a bit more refinement and sort of knobbliness of them and the texture. But yes, it's solid.
The lighting composition too is really nice. So very, very close to being a really solid piece. I would just spend a few weeks just adding a few passes.
That waterfall is just a little bit too bright, a little bit too detracting from the piece for me in terms of composition and sort of. And
it needs that little part. Needs that particle effect at the bottom. If they are going to have a waterfall, sort of think about sort of what it does once it hits the water and splash it, and particles there as well.
But another one to watch out for is he's come from a long way this year and actually developed a skill set that I think will take him far. So next up, we've got Kial. Many of you might have already seen this piece because it was submitted to HudUniGames Search for a Star competition. And
less said about that, the better.
He's done an incredible job. So I'll pass it back over to Dal just to talk about some of the intricacies of it.
No, Kyle's been an interesting one this year for me because he kept bringing your work to my module, and vice versa. So I was incredibly confused throughout the entire process to what was actually going to be submitted for my module. This I love, and it's. Again, I forgot the name of the damned actor, but it reminds me of another actor. I can never remember, James something or other. Anyway, he had the original sort of concept, which is sort of a very well known character to him, not to me in the slightest. Again, I've completely forgotten who it was meant to be. Do any of you guys know? Because I have no clue whatsoever.
Is it the X-Men?
Oh no! It's someone put it up in the chat, I'm sure.
No, this is from. It's a character from a podcasty thing. What's it called? Oh, come on, chat.
Anyway, whatever it is. But I mean, the key thing was really about the sort of refinement of materials and fabrics and things of that nature. Yeah,
critical role. There we go.
Critical role, something I have no idea what it is. You hopefully can see the sort of the eyes in particular, the shader that he's used on the eyes, the way that he's detailed the shading around the eyes is wonderful. The cloth texture in particular is really very, very well done. It works at all levels of detail. You can zoom right out and it works. You can zoom in to see the individual fibers, and it really does punch at all resolutions. It's a superb piece of work.
Yeah, I was looking at it in the Marmoset viewer, and just the skin pores and the micro details he's got on the skin, and like you said, the fibers, even the diorama. Lots of work has gone into the diorama, and it really sells the piece.
Yeah,
and all that
work. I think that's really nice color as well. Just for all the palette and everything for it all.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that Kial does extremely well is that final presentation, posing the character in a pose that represents that character's personality. He puts them on a little pedestal or in a scene that makes sense. It's that one thing that, as academics, you're constantly trying to push the final level is just as important.
But look at that. I mean, look at the pose. There's that whole thing that we've had T poses, and then you get Carl's work and the presentation of it just takes you all to a different level. Yeah. Because they have personality at this stage. They're not just finished skulls. They have real endearing personality. I love this.
So yeah, as the chat's saying. Cal's not one to look out for because he's already got a job role, but he's definitely one to go and follow on ArtStation and to see what he does going forward after graduation.
Yeah, there is no way that within the next 5 years that Kyle's not going to be a lead character artist somewhere. He absolutely has to be because he's just brilliant.
Cool. So we're going to move on to the next one, which is Kieran. So Kieran's aiming to be a vehicle artist, so we're going to have a quick look at this sort of sci-fi vehicle that was based off a concept. I'm going to point it out before Daryl does, because Daryl will, is that don't look too closely at the interior, because the interior is the weakest element of this thing.
It's got Rex from Toy Story's skin on this, which is a shame, because I quite like Rex. But someone skinned him and coated the interior chairs with it.
I think it's just an issue of textile density and a normal mat that's a bit too strong.
Yeah, I would probably say, Kiri, if you're going to put this, go back and just tweak this for your portfolios, just to go back and just adjust the textures on the interior. When you get a bit close, they do stand out. But it's actually a pretty strong piece. I'll pass on to Darryl to talk about how this came about.
It's another one of those models where we really have gone around the houses to get to the finished product, and it does need more work. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's complete at this stage. I think the interior needs ripping out for the most part. Certainly, the seats need ripping out and probably restarting. But the form itself
it's a bit
good.
Extreme on the ripping it out bit, but yeah.
I should go down to scrapyard and find replacement seats. That's just the way it works, right? In my head. But he's listened again. Came to the Zoom chats, listened. We had particular issues with the levitation system not making a great deal of sense, and he's refined all of that. There's a concept, and it marries up to the concept pretty well. He's got the sort of like the chrome trim for the most part. I still think the chrome trim around certain areas could be enhanced and make it a little bit more cartoony. And actually, to be fair, 1950s vehicles were fairly cartoony, even the real things. So just emphasize the chrome trim a little bit more, certainly around the rear windows and the side
maybe
windows.
Some scorch marks here if this is sort of like a jet engine. Just one thing to point out is this is not good having just a screenshot of Unreal 4 in your portfolio. So I would replace these if I were you. You can just Google UE4 screenshot command line, and you can just type in a command line and it'll export it and whatever
And
resolution.
you can export to any resolution you want, because you could go like crazy and then downsample to get some free anti-aliasing from it.
Yeah.
But Kieran, his portfolio, artstation.com/ actually, what is his full ArtStation link? I think it's his full name.
It's just Kieran Fricker-Goddard.
Yeah, long URL there for that one. But he is getting better, and you can see that he's developing, really wanting to be an environment artist, and I think
vehicle artist, Matt.
What did I just say? Character.
You said environment.
Did I? Oh,
yeah.
All three are going in my head. He's getting stronger and stronger each time. So definitely, as he improves and continues on his career, it'll be interesting to watch what he produces on that ArtStation page.
So lastly, we've got Joe Taylor. Just turn sound down.
Actually, if you can get the sound to play on this, it's really quite good.
Yeah, it's playing. It's just quiet. Oh, I've toned it down.
So the thing I like about this piece more than anything is yes, he's got some beautiful lighting and sort of composition, but actually it's the technical side of it that really intrigues me. Like all the materials are running off smart materials, so that he can actually, if he makes one change, it'll make changes across the scene if he wants to, and things like that. So I think this is one, if you want to go and have a look at a breakdown, his ArtStation is really good to see a breakdown for this.
Yeah, I personally, I got this process that was, we were discussing as we were refining, and then I didn't see a great deal of Joe towards the end of the module, and then you look at the supporting documentation that's provided, and it's quite interesting. It's almost at the stage where he stopped listening to the crit I was giving him and went online and started sort of talking to people on 80 level and places of that nature. So he's done the right thing to some degree. I personally would have liked more input, but that's just by the by. But going and finding professionals to get feedback from is brave, and it's really paid dividends, I think, in the particularly in the lighting and the final finessing of this. It still has, to my eye, the lighting is sumptuous. I still think it has quite a few areas that look a little bit empty and unfinished. But the overall technical ability that's on display, particularly when you sort of like see individual elements, like that degradation of that roof there we've got on screen is fantastic. The props that are in that really nicely finished. And I think actually sort of like the composition of the shots in the portfolio should have emphasized those individual elements more, because they are a little bit lost. I don't really have any crit of his general workflow, though. It's the only thing that I would suggest is just fleshing the environment out a little bit more and considering the actual angles at which the camera is showing this work off. Nothing else. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I don't like is the color of this barrel just keeps pulling my eye back here, and then I notice the sharpness of the moss because my eye's constantly getting pulled back from wherever it is on the scene. But other than that, it's beautiful. Yeah. And then he's got his new piece up too, which I think he's just started working on.
Don't show that. That I'm presuming that will get shown in a few weeks in advance viz.
Oh, okay.
But if you click through,
peek, Matt, that's what we're doing there.
Yeah, I will actually.
It's a trailer.
If you follow the link to his actual ArtStation page, the one under his name.
Yep.
I'm actually going to draw attention for him, and then go to his tutorial section in there somewhere.
I think it's under 2D work, is it? Tutorials.
Yes, there it is. So he has a nice tutorial section on his website. So if anyone's interested in going to have a look at a really nice lighting breakdown and process of actually putting some atmospherics, Joe did it for his final year project. Did an amazing little tutorial guide on putting together some nice lighting UV4. So worth going to have a look at that and following his ArtStation. And as someone said it in the chat, following his Twitter because he puts updates. So if anyone wants to post any links into the chat or anything that we want to post, please do so. Okay. So I think we just finishing up with a link to the HudUniGames blog. So we're going to do a little bit of self-promotion because what we're going to do, we're going to take all those links to the art stations and everything, and we're going to put a little blog post up together after the stream with all the links. So if you're interested in following anyone that you saw, whether it's a new student potentially coming onto the course that wants to follow some of the grads as they go through their career, then you'll be able to follow that. Or if there's potentially any employers that are interested in following through on some of those portfolios, you'll be able to just go to the HudUniGames blog page. And from there, you can get to the Twitter and Instagram and all the other things. But we're going to, hopefully over the next couple of weeks, as more work comes in, we're a little bit later than we normally would be in the year because of the current situation, but students are currently submitting things. So we're going to do a couple of different live streams going forward on the work that's submitted, both the art side, so we'll probably do one of the advanced visual modules, but also games prototyping that Duke will be running, so looking at more of the tech side. And then once they submit their team project games, we're going to do a little bit of a deconstruction on some of the team project games that were made.
I need to send out another reminder about submitting the actual game itself. We've got most of them now. It's just a couple of teams haven't submitted their games at this stage.
And so it's and I just saw it in the chat actually. Some of our programmers saying it would be nice if we could do this. So maybe if some of the programmers have got some really nice, interesting demos that they've put together, maybe for founding a project or advanced AI or advanced game dev or anything like that you want us to maybe showcase on the stream, get in touch with either Duke or myself or any of us, so we can actually have a look and see how we can put that together.
Actually, I spoke to Mincy this morning, and he'd be quite interested in sort of joining in with that.
Yeah. So that was just it was quite a brief one today, but we just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to our students as they're working from home trying to put stuff together. And more than likely, I'm guessing right now, you can probably tell me in chat, writing your final dissertation.
Hopefully.
That's the big one that's coming up very soon for our students. So they'll be putting the finishing touches to that together.
We've got one yes. Gary saying well done to everyone.
So thank you everyone for tuning in this week, and like I said, we'll put as many descriptions in the chat on the YouTube stream, and follow the blog if you want any more links, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Bye.